Harry Ford gets traded. Let's talk about it.
Baseball stuff! Baseball stuff!
Mariners baseball, we are back. And honestly, after the Josh Naylor signing, we got some more stuff to talk about this offseason. You knew was going to be at least a little bit electric. Harry Ford gets traded. Guys, initial thoughts on Harry Ford's departure, and then we'll get into Jose Ferrer.
I mean, at first it was tough to lose Harry Ford. I mean, I think we saw him as somebody really maybe fit in as a DH for us, backup catcher for next year. It would have been a really nice piece. But we took care of the number one position right away that we knew we needed to take care of too, outside of re-signing Josh Naylor, and that was a bullpen arm, preferably a left-handed relief pitcher. So I think we nailed it with Ferrer. The ERA doesn't show it, but I think the outlining peripherals just in his baseball savant page, I think it looks good.
Yeah, Nosy, what about you? I think he's frozen in time.
We got Cricket Wireless going. That's all right, though.
I mean, it.
There we go.
Birthday came early. Oh, fun. Birthday came early. No, but this will be fun. I might have to come back. But birthday came early. I've been begging for a good left-handed arm all season. Caleb Ferguson, I think, did a good job, but we needed something a little bit extra. I think if we could have gotten for our earlier, I think who knows what could have changed. But Harry Ford is a tough subject, and I apologize, my voice has been coming and going. But Harry Ford, it's that scenario of if he's doing so well in AAA, do you bring him up with the potential of not getting enough at bats to kind of prove to the rest of Major League Baseball that we've got something. And the value or what he projected and what he did at AAA is going to translate in some fashion in the major league level. I don't know if we gave him enough at bats to really say that. If anything, I think bringing him up and giving him, I'd have to go look at the numbers. Was it less than 30 at bats? And then you want to use the value of what he did in AAA. I think you negated all that value. So I think what we got, and again, not starting pitching, but pitching in general, I just think is a higher value. So to me, I think we got a good deal. And that could age not very well. It could age really well. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think this was a straight surplus for need situation because I'm very high on Harry Ford. And I think some people made some good points on this part. I think you found out what Harry Ford's market was. And so you're just kind of seeing what's going on around the league. They probably, tapped on a few teams just to kind of see what his market, is. And honestly, getting Jose Ferrer was great. Now, did I think they needed to package Isaac Lyons? No, I thought that it was a great trade across the table. But, losing those two guys, I was at peace with losing Ford months ago. When the trade deadline came and gone and he was still a Mariner, I was actually surprised. But if he was traded even prior to that, I was at peace with him moving on.
And you also have to think too, like the player value, like a left-handed relief pitcher in a bullpen is going to probably provide a lot more, especially in leverage situations, is going to provide a lot more value for you than a backup catcher, especially when your starting catcher is Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about the surplus versus need. We needed a left-handed pitcher. And I agree with Kyle. I think Caleb Ferguson got a bad rap because the games that he got blown up on were important games, but he helped us when we first got him. He actually had some good outings, helped us down the stretch, helped us get to the postseason. And then, he got blown up a little bit in late September. He got blown up in the postseason. He didn't do exactly what we needed him to do later in the season. And having a guy like Jose Ferrer probably would have helped solve that problem, in my opinion. But I mean, just to kind of shift gears over to Jose Ferrer, I want to bring up his savant page just so you know kind of what we're getting and just, where we're at with everything. And the guy's still in pre-arb. This is a great get in my opinion. So if you're in the I'm mad that we lost him camp, I'm mad that we lost Harry Ford camp. Just a heads up, this is what we got coming to the back end of our bullpen, and he now has some closer work. I believe he ended the season with like 10 or 11 saves, but you're getting a guy, and yeah, don't let the ERA fool you. You're getting a guy that sits 97, lives in the 97, 99 mile an hour range, but his ground ball percentage is really what wins me over. I love that a guy that throws that hard is able to get a lot of ground balls. So yeah, his strikeout numbers aren't going to be wowing you. They're not going to be above a 9. In fact, on his best days, maybe he gets a 9. Maybe he's sitting at that 9, caper 9. But for the most part, his ground ball percentage is what's going to keep you in there. He's going to miss barrels. He may not miss bats, but he's going to miss barrels, and that's what you need from this left-handed pitcher, especially as he fits into the Mariners role as not really a closer. So yeah, I just wanted to pull up the Baseball Savant page, just give you an idea of what we're getting in here and everything. But there we go. We got the Nolsies back. Let's go back to
I think it's a combination too of, one, it tells you like where the market's at for relief pitching these days. The contracts are getting bigger and bigger. And then also maybe Harry Ford was definitely a little overvalued in a way. Not great power for his position, but at the same time, like I love that OBP.
Yeah.
I love the on-base skills. So
I think the one thing that I didn't like is their usage of him. I think once you won the division, if you really wanted Cal to maybe, try and get 66 home runs or whatever you wanted him to do, you could have shifted him to DH, let Harry actually, work with these pitchers. You've already won the division. You're already going to the postseason.
Yeah.
I think it was a very good opportunity to see kind of what you have for the next year. And you had him on your bench for the postseason, and now you're kind of potentially relying on that bat late in the game, which I think we saw once or twice. As we
maybe they just wanted to keep him healthy.
Maybe just wanted to keep him healthy. Moved. But yeah, you're being, but I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more. That's the one thing that I didn't really, agree with the Mariners staff on, is their usage of him at the end of the year. I get it. If you're still fighting for it and we haven't won a division in 20 some odd years, yep. Okay. I understand that. But once we nailed that or hammered that nail into the coffin, would have liked to have seen them move forward with him and just get some more at bats, get his feet wet, get him working with the staff. Obviously major league experience is a great thing to have. And especially in a no pressure situation. So yeah, guys, throwing it over to you. Any final thoughts from that, or did you have anything that you wanted to kind of deep dive in on that?
Yeah, I think it also says something about Luke Stevenson and Josh Caron. The guys there.
I'm gonna throw another one your way. Grant J. Keep that name in your back pocket. He was a Dallas Baptist, I think 11th rounder for us. I liked him in the draft. I thought he was going to go in the top 5 rounds. That's how good I thought he was. Just keep your eye on that one. But we do have a plethora of catchers now. Unfortunately, we traded away Heyman. That was another really good one we got out of Florida in this past draft. But yeah, we got. I think you're right. I think that sings praises of Luke Stevenson. Mm-hmm. But Nolsey, now that you're back,
it begs the question of how many. Yeah, begs the question: how many ABs do you need to give some guys so they're like that? Kind of shows their value one way or the other. Where it doesn't, because 30 at bats, it's hard for 30 at bats to get really going, right? Especially as a rookie. Yeah. Like, you look at Julio, like he was slow to go and he picked it up as the year went on. So it's kind of that,
I think they hit the clock on this. This is the value we want you at. Stop.
Yep. Okay. You're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, Harry Ford for Jose Ferrer, I think this is what the Mariners needed, but that shifts gears. Now we got the Rule 5 draft coming along. There's been some links to names as far as catchers go. We'll talk a little bit about that after this. I did want to get into the Rule 5 draft because it's happening on Wednesday. Guys, I don't know if you scoured the names that are available, but there's a couple that really stick out to me. Aramis Garcia, who has major league experience, not doing terrible in AAA. He doesn't have the terrible numbers. His defensive numbers aren't terrible either. He's just another name that would be available and has experience. But there's two names that really kind of stick out to me. The first one, I think everybody's probably talked about him, is Daniel Susac, and he comes from a more offensive perspective, but he's a former first rounder. Just reading off his stat line from last year in Vegas for AAA. Batted slash 275, 349, 483. I get it, it's the PCL, so take it with a grain of salt. But he had 18 home runs, and he's still 24 years old. I like this guy. His strikeout numbers weren't the greatest. He has 109 strikeouts through the 407 plate appearances. But the slash line speaks a little bit to me, and he's still 24, and you're not asking a whole lot of this guy. I mean, we already discussed this. Cal Raleigh is going to play probably 120 to 140 games. That guy is insane for doing it, but we already know that he's going to play so many games, and God forbid he gets hurt, but you have somebody who's pushing the needle, ready to go. He's probably even further along than Harry Ford, in my opinion, as far as, advancement and just getting work with those pitchers at the next level. Harry Ford doesn't have quite as much as Daniel Susac has. But that was one of the names that had popped up. And then the other one for me was actually another former first rounder, Kevin Parada. He was in AA and AAA last year. His AAA numbers aren't the greatest, so that cause for concern. There was only 16 games. He slashed 196, 281, 286 in AAA through those 16 games. But in AA, 254, 326, 429 with 10 bombs. Strikeout numbers for most catchers, it's going to be the same. He's striking out kind of at a 33% clip, right around there. So something to take note of, but also just another guy to take a chance on potentially. I like Susac better in between all three of the guys that I just mentioned. But thoughts on the Rule 5 draft or this week, free agency? What's your guys' thoughts on this whole backup catcher situation in general?
I like the idea of Susac. I think it might be something where if you really want him, you might think about trying to trade for him ahead of it. I think where we sit, we probably are in 22, 24 on the list. So
we're down there.
I don't think he's going to fall that far. A guy that I actually really like, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm a big Dynasty baseball guy. But this is a guy, he was a 5th round draft pick for the Minnesota Twins a couple years ago. He's out of Hawaii, Kalai Rosario. He's actually the number 19 prospect for the Minnesota Twins. Strikes out a ton, and that's fine. And I just look at, okay, one, our goal is to replace and also improve the players that we're losing. And there's a huge power number that we have to replace with Gino. And is there a guy that maybe fits? Right-handed bat, Kalai Rosario last year. Let me pull up his numbers really quick. Last year, he went to AA, so he was Wichita, so he was still a little young. He was 22 years old, so this will be a little bit of a jump for him. But I want to take the reach, especially if you're later in the Rule 5 draft. What do you have to lose? It's a guy that's going to be in spring training with you. But he batted 256, 358 OBP. I love the power numbers, 25 home runs. But like I mentioned, strikeouts, 159 strikeouts and 579 plate appearances. So a little bit of a boom or bust kind of bat, but I like that in that spot. I think the right-handed bat corner outfielder maybe is a good fit if we keep the current roster we have today. But outside of that, I mean, I that late, in last year, I don't think Jerry took anybody. I don't know if I think we say that
Jerry's not
spot.
huge. I guess historically Rule 5 isn't huge for Jerry. And typically in any given year, I'd say he probably approached this and see what kind of stockpile for arms could he go get.
Piece?
Yeah, what pen piece could he, where's his analytics coming in saying, hey, this guy's a gem, even though he has a 6 ERA? Because Jerry does a pretty good job of finding those guys, but also those guys tend to maybe not be available in the Rule 5 draft. Shane Smith was actually a Rule 5 draft. That was a big one that the White Sox got a year ago, 2 years ago. And he obviously came to fruition for them. He's done a fantastic job. So I wouldn't be surprised if they forego the catcher or third base and they just go for a pitcher or maybe even two, and then they focus on free agency on what smaller piece could they kind of go for? Which I guess bleeding into the next topic, there's some bats to kind of talk about this off season. We'll kick it off. We'll kick it off with what we're talking about, staying on topic here with the catcher in Mitch Garver. There's been links back to Mitch Garver. I have my opinion, but I'm going to throw it to you guys first. What's your guys' thoughts on Mitch Garver and a reunion there? Let's say, and I'll throw it out there. Let's say it's $2 million AAV.
No, I mean, clearly the guys like him in the clubhouse, and he's had moments as a Mariner that make a ton of sense. I just, with Cal playing as much innings as he has been, I know his numbers as a first baseman DH aren't as strong as him behind the plate. I get that. But also, you want to keep him in the lineup, and you got to keep him healthy. And I envisioned something where a catcher was going to be every 2 or 3 weeks, they're getting 2 starts during the week. And that, but if you throw Garver in that equation, I don't want that. I don't think it makes sense for this roster, especially when you look at, you want to improve the floor. And what's the floor? That's your bench. And I'd like to, if we're not going to spend a ton and we don't have that roster flexibility, the payroll flexibility, then we got to look at cheaper options. So I'm going to go no.
Yeah. Nosy, what about you?
I'm going to say no, but I'm going to then counter that by saying if you bring Garver back, to Chad's point, it's about improving your floor. If you bring Garver back, then that means you need to then supplement the, I guess, inefficiencies of his offensive production with the rest of the team. So that would mean bolstering your platoon players or bolstering your backups, or we'll talk about Ketel Marte, Jorge Polanco. Like, you've kind of got to, if you're going to bring Garver back and you know what you're getting with him, then you got to bring in some muscle that kind of, okay, that's fine. You're really bringing him in just because he has familiarity with the bullpen or with the bullpen, with the staff, and the rest of these guys, we knew that. So we're just,
You're bringing in a bat that's going to be taking up DH time, because Garver, I better not see a DH day from Cal because Garver's playing. Like, that's just not what I want, or vice versa, right? I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I think
it's just
you
not
hit the nail on the head.
Baseball.
I really think both of you hit the nail on the head with, if you happen to move forward with Garver, it's for 2 small off the field reasons. It's familiarity with the staff, and then what he brings in the clubhouse, which I don't think there's been a single time where I've talked about that guy being a bad guy. That's it. The nature of the business is we need somebody who's going to be a good backup. And does he give us that? I can't definitively say over other people, but I can tell you that the feeling with going to get a Daniel Susac, if that were to be the case in the Rule 5 draft, if that was the guy that we were lucky enough to grab, I think your floor is about the same, but your ceiling rises. And that's, I'd rather take that route. And understandably, Daniel Susac would have, he'd have a lot of stuff on his hands trying to figure out this staff. But I think the cohesiveness of this staff would give somebody like Daniel Susac, like, these guys have been with each other now for the past couple of years. They've built some cohesiveness. They have, like, this whole team has embraced Josh Naylor. This whole team has embraced all these guys, all these pieces that have come in. I think Daniel Susac would just flourish in that and just be able to start to pick things up. And that's the non-analytical answer, right? Like, analytics could probably prove me wrong on why Daniel Susac would be a bad defensively for this team. But I just think, from I guess my inner coach, or my coach from my time just being on a diamond, would supplement that answer with that, and just saying, hey, you got a good nucleus here. As long as Daniel Susac's a good guy, brings something to the clubhouse, I think he's a great answer, because his offensive numbers are there. The ceiling, we love it. So yeah, absolutely. And then William, thank you again for stopping by. What about trading Luis Torrens from the New York Mets? Luis Torrens.
Who wants to take it? I'll take it. I'll take it. No. And I know Jerry likes to trade for guys that he's had before and lost them. He's like, wait, I miss you. Not for this case. I'm actually looking at a guy that's in free agency and kind of a Mariner killer, Jonah Heim, sitting out there. I know Texas just DFA'd him. They didn't pick up his contract. So I think that'd be a good pick for me. I think in a backup role, he can play some first base in a pinch, play some DH. I like him. I feel like his ceiling is definitely a better fit. He's a left-handed bat, so I feel like T-Mobile would be good for him.
It's always going to be Safeco.
Clubco. But yeah, I'm going to go with no on Torrens to answer your question, William. But I have other cheap options in mind.
Yeah, I'll also back that up with I don't mind Torrens. I don't think it's a target of mine this offseason. If they were to get him, I wouldn't be disappointed. I don't think it'd be kind of at the top. Yeah.
We have other priorities.
Here's Kick Dirt. I appreciate your words. You've always been great to the show. Torrens isn't going anywhere. He's basically their catcher one. Yeah, there's that.
It's just not worth the cost, I guess.
It would be a downgrade for him.
And we're not playing him every day. So
yeah. And yeah, we wouldn't, especially with Cal Raleigh in front of him. Like he's like, you got 100 and some odd guys, but yeah, I guess getting to a couple other guys for this offseason. Or I guess one of the rumors I wanted to attack, Mariners not planning on trading Luis Castillo this offseason. This is per MLB trade rumors. This just came out. So that money is here to stay for at least another year. So yeah, looks like you're keeping the staff pretty much together. I know that there's Bryce Miller. I've seen his name attached to a lot of different trade talks.
It just tells you okay, so who are you trading, Jerry?
Yeah. What is going to happen, if anything, this offseason? Because the other names that we're linking to, we got Ketel Marte, also along with the Pirates, are in that realm and everything. And then Jorge Polanco, which, we've already brought up and everything. And he's not going to be cheap anymore. Like he just came off of a great year. I would imagine whoever gets him is going to have to pay a little bit. I'd say north of 10 million. But I can't imagine it being more than 12 to 13 per year and maybe 3 years. That's my guess, is 3 years, 12 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe if you wanted to extend it for a fourth or have an option for a fourth, you could, discuss that. But yeah, Polanco's a tough situation. Is he a one and done, or is he, has he figured out how to hit in T-Mobile? And is that if we go and pay that, are we now bound to that, and we're going to have a 210 hitter with 15 bombs for the next couple of years, or what is that going to look like? I'm curious on if we bring him back, what that looks like. Any other names, or Ketel Marte, getting into any of those other trade pieces, any of those stick out to you? Anything that you have for trade speculation on them?
Nosy, I liked your thought earlier today with the Guardians. Are we
he's a little behind.
So
he's a little behind.
Yeah, Stephen Kwan. I'm a little behind, just a little. That's without internet.
You'll have to excuse my friend.
Stephen
He's
Kwan
a little
would
slow.
Be, I think
Sorry.
Stephen Kwan would be great. I think he fits the mold.
Kwan.
I think he'd be a great leadoff hitter. And I think I just don't think Rosarino wants to really be here. So I think you'd get a guy that's a Pacific or Oregon State alum. I just think it's hard to find guys that can play in the Pacific Northwest. It's cold. It's dreary. You get a Marine layer here and there. I just think he fits the bill for what we're looking for. Contact, a little bit of pop here and there, but I think it'd be a slam dunk if you wanted to, throw Rosarina, a couple prospects, and go get Kwan.
I like Kwan. Yeah.
I totally agree. And the biggest thing is leadoff hitter. What do we need? What's the one thing in our lineup you kind of look at and does that really fit? And I've always felt like leadoff has kind of been a rotating door for us. And I just like the thought of just adding Kwan, even if that means okay, we need to move their money elsewhere. Fine. Rosarino on a 1 year. Maybe you don't get much for him, but maybe now you free up a little bit more cash for something else. What would that cost? What would that cost though, Gav?
Yeah, you're looking at probably, depending on what they're, because I don't know the Guardians system and where they're at. Does somebody like Michael Arroyo make sense to them, or are they looking for pitching? Because we're not super deep on pitching. Would it be Sinja? Would they be in on a Sinja trade and package some way with that? Do they want somebody who's MLB ready because they are coming off of a pretty good year? Would they want Dom Canzone? Would that be something that's a little bit more attractive to them? So I'm curious on what route they're looking to go. I haven't dug into that. They probably said it somewhere. To be honest, I don't know what their offseason plans are or direction of the club. But if they go the MLB ready route, I think Dom Canzone or Luke Raley might be in play. It's not going to be the headliner in my opinion, but I think it'll be in play if they want to go that route. However, if they want to go prospect heavy, you're looking at a potential for Sinja or Michael Arroyo or Ty Pete to probably headline that trade. That's my opinion on the trade.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget Guardians made the playoffs, so they do this all the time where they just shed a little bit of payroll. It's kind of just a slight reset, but they're still good. I think it makes we might just match up well just because of Canzone. I feel like probably Guardians would look at it like, okay, we're going to add a little bit more power, but give up still good average. Like, I mean, I think Canzone batted 297 for us. So really strong for them as well. So, yeah, I think it lines up really well. And then another player that I just wanted to bring up too was actually from KBO leagues, Sung Mun Song. Say that 10 times.
Run the stats. Run the stats.
Have you seen his stats though at all?
I have not.
Oh man. Well, guys, look it up out of the KBO leagues. He's actually not being talked about much, but very comparable to Ha-Seong Kim that was signed by San Diego a couple years ago. But batting average 315, OBP 387, 26 bombs, 28 years old, so a little bit older coming over from the KBO leagues. But Sung Mun Song, we'll just call him Sing Yo Song going forward.
I do like it's always tough getting players from the KBO because the KBO, in my opinion, is just slightly below the Japanese league. And so you're always curious on what the hitters.
It's like you're grabbing from their AAA.
It's yeah, for lack of a better term. But I do like his strikeout to walk ratio. If he's not going to be an arm and a leg, yeah, I'd kick the tires on that and just see what happens. I can't imagine he'd be super expensive, but the numbers would be something I'd be willing to take a chance on. However, that's not my guy that's starting in left field for me or whatever position he plays third base. Yeah, he's not my starting third baseman. He's not who I entered the season with as my starting third baseman. I do like the name. I do like the stats. I like what he brings to the table. If he's not going to be an arm and leg, however, you also still have Ben Williamson, which we all know, and I think we can all talk about his defensive ability. That guy is one of the best third basemen that we've seen in a while. Kyle Seager is somebody that rings a bell, but his offensive numbers just profile for a second baseman, and it's tough to just pass that off. I think a lot of the rumors are like, can this guy be an Ernie Kent? Or Ernie Kent. Wow. That was a Wasu name I'm pulling out. Ernie Clement is who I meant to say. Yeah, for those Kook fans out there, Ernie Kent, former basketball coach at Wazoo. But Ernie Clement is the profile that people are like, oh, can this be an Ernie Clement? Can he be just a high contact guy, bat 270, have 5 to 10 bombs? Yeah, I think the ceiling is there to do that, but I just don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. And
Bregman.
And Bregman, yeah, I mean, from a player's perspective, he fits the mold. He's a Mariner killer. We all know he can hit in T-Mobile. I think he get a lot of boos in Seattle. I mean, to me, I don't care. I want to win games. But
Mariners would boo their own players, would they?
if Alex Rodriguez came back
We're the
later in his
nicest
career,
fans in baseball.
No.
We're
If
the
he just
nicest
went
fans
up
in
and said
baseball.
if he could just say F Houston like on a radio show, then I think we'd love him after that. We're good.
I think people might be sold on him, absolutely. But if Alex Rodriguez came back after he was a Yankee, yeah, I think he probably get some boos. Even though he's a Mariner, I think he'd still probably get some boos.
Well, when you
know,
I want to go to a contender who hadn't been a contender in 20 years.
Yeah, or like who was it that said I want to go to a
Bregman was
baseball
just
city?
good and beat us. I mean,
I think
I can't be mad at Bregman for being good.
Was it Josh Hamilton that said I want to go to a baseball city and went from Texas to LA? And you're like, that's a basketball city at the time. At the time, he had the Lakers and the Clippers that were both kind of good with Blake Griffin and all of them. So yeah. Well, guys, final thoughts. Those are all the topics I had. Any other offseason transactions that you guys want to talk about? Any other names that you're like, ooh, I'd love to have this guy in Seattle?
I mean, not necessarily names, because there's so many directions you can go in. I mean, we can talk for hours, Gavin. I think it's more of like, okay, I already give this offseason a B at bare minimum. We went in and we took care of.
We got the guy.
We
got the guy.
America, we got him.
We got him.
Number 2, we got a high leverage bullpen arm, preferably up from the left-hand side. So like that's 1 and 2. And then 3 was a bat that upgrades Gino, or I guess I say Polanco is probably the better bat. A bat that upgrades Polanco in some kind of way, or something equivalent to the 2. That's where we have to look at now. We have one. Give me one good bat, Jerry. That's what I say. Jerry, you listening out there? Give me a good bat.
And to tag on to that, what Chad just said, and what you've done so far, you have not removed anything of your core. It's a big one. So yeah, you got rid of Harry Ford. I mean, that's a bummer, but he was not a core player from what your team was last year. So you've essentially bolstered your team and not affected what you did last year. But to Chad's point, we need to equal or equivalent value, right? We're not going lesser then. So is it Polanco? Great. It'd be a great, maybe you say, hey, you had a great year. We're going to give you a raise, but we'll give you some more incentive laden deals around injury. Not even around your performance. It's like, hey, if you're healthy, you're good. It's just if you're healthy. I would do the same thing for Byron Buxton. Same scenario, dude. When you're healthy, you are a top 20 player in the league. But I would do something with Polanco in that way. Gino, I think he's a great player, great pulse. I just don't know what he would take. I don't know if you're going to pay him $15 million a year. I just don't think it's there. I wish there was some value you could give to what you do for a clubhouse, but that's just not in dollars. In a perfect world, I'd love to say, hey, Jerry, can you defer money for the next 30 years and go get Kyle Tucker? That'd be really fun.
Gosh,
that's
sign me up
again,
for Kyle Tucker.
top of my wish list.
Right.
Santa,
I think with Quan,
please.
though, I think you could probably give up a Canzone. You could probably give up maybe a Rosarina, take part of his deal, maybe, and then give up some prospects. But I think you could do that without really hurting your core. Canzone didn't do anything for us in the playoffs, unfortunately. And we still have Robles, who, when he's healthy, I think he's far and wide better. We also have Rayleigh, who I think Rayleigh, I think you take what he did in 2025 and you punt it, because I don't think he was ever healthy. So it's like, I can't look at that and say, well, he's going downhill. No, the dude was never healthy. An oblique injury when you're playing baseball you might as well have just torn your ACL, because it's one of the most focal points of any throwing, hitting, running. You have to have your obliques. And I think he might have rushed himself because he wanted to get back in, because he knew it. Because I think he's a team player. He wanted to get back to this team because he's like, hey, I can help us out. But I think ultimately it's like, dude, you should have just packed it for the year. But again, I say that when it's like, that's the default. Okay, we're just going to stay everything in-house. No, we need to get more. We need to bolster the team. So if that's Polanco, great. Is that somebody else in free agency? I would love to see you spend some money on Bregman. I think this, again, we talk about the window. We're in it. We're probably on the back end of it, unfortunately, just because of these pitchers and where their, arbitration and where their life. So it's like, hey, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Let's do it now.
I think my one knock, and I have no insight on this, But my one knock on Bregman would potentially be a clubhouse issue. He only spent 1 year in Boston. Like, why? I don't know the answer, but why was he only there for 1 year? Was there turmoil behind? Yeah, he had an opt out, but why did he opt out? Why was he out of Boston?
Because he wants to win, and you're not going to win in Boston next year. Do you think Boston's going to win that division next year? I would put it in the top 3.
Boston, in my opinion, and I'm not saying they're the best in that division. In my opinion, on any given year, Boston has a chance to win 100%. They have a chance to upseat anybody in that division, just like the Yankees. The Yankees, every single year, they have a chance because they stay competitive and they keep the money coming in. And they bring guys like Bregman in. At any given point, they can be competitive and be in there. And
I think our staff is smarter than them, though. I think they pick the hot girl at the bar where we find we find now. I'm not going where everyone's gravitating towards. I want to find someone who fits the mold of the Mariners, fits the clubhouse. I think Jerry's done a really good job of that.
That's the other part. Yeah. We're staying away from as many Boris clients as possible. I think the Mariners are starting to all right, we're starting to stray away from that. So I think there's always, no matter what team you go to, there's going to be at least 1 or 2 Boris clients, if not
Cal a Boris client one time and he switched?
He said adios. Yeah. He said, I'm out. Yeah, he said I want to deal.
Mariners said they don't like working with you.
Yeah. He's like, I'm pretty sure.
Or his little lever, he likes to pull the Mariner lever to get more money from another team.
Yeah. And
Cal realized 145 million is generational wealth. I don't need to go further than that.
Cal strikes me as a no BS guy, and I think Boris is nothing but BS. Just to get to that next spot, get a few extra $1 million, and so I think that the heads butted, and I think that's really what happened. He goes, I want to be a Mariner, make it happen. Well, yeah, but I want you to make 27 million. I want to make 28 million. I think that's kind of probably how that struck out. I'm completely speculating here. William, thank you for bringing that up. This is another guy just to keep on your radar. A pitcher out of Japan. This guy's good. This guy,
I would love him. That's why I was surprised. Like they said,
guy
Castillo's not being moved because I saw it. We haven't added a Japanese player in quite some time. And
the Dodgers are getting them all. The Dodgers.
Can we get a chance? There's going to be a lot of rules put in place.
There's
for us, that guy was our workhorse last year. When everyone else was hitting the walking wounded, that guy was standing
Castillo.
tall. You got to give him that.
My final thought on this offseason, just to wrap up my thoughts, are we still have question marks at second and third. We have answers. I don't know if they are the answer. We have Cole Young. We have Ryan Bliss, who is returning. We have an answer. But what are we going to get from them? We don't know exactly how they're going to progress into next year. Obviously, Bliss coming off of his injury, you don't know what you're going to get from him. And then Cole Young is still coming off of his rookie year. You don't know what to expect. You'd like to think he can take over at second base, but you just don't know. And then Ben Williamson and nobody else at third. So I got one more person I wanted to at least throw out there, and that's CJ Abrams. He's being tossed around a lot at winter meetings right now. It's apparently it's a hot topic.
The JP Crawford of his time. The turning point in his career. A couple years into his career, team moving you.
Let me double check my here, just to make sure, but I think he has a little bit more power.
A little bit more power.
He's 18, 20, 19 home runs. Yep. Now his batting average is going to be, 245, 255, somewhere in that window. His strikeouts are going to be north of 100. His strikeout to walk ratio is not the greatest.
On base though, as a short.
But 315 on
We're
base.
Looking at the wrong. It's not a need. It looks a nice shiny object.
I think he can make the move to third.
I don't know. JP does exactly what you need. A guy that gets on a lot. He's a great 9-hole hitter.
I'll toss this question back over to you guys. I know I wrapped up my thoughts, but just William made another good point. At any point in time, I'm not saying it has to be at the beginning of the season, but if this guy comes out swinging and pulls like a Cole Young in spring training, at any point in time, do you see Cole Emerson being – I can't say answer because it's always tough to make your answer in a playoff push team. a rookie, it's always tough. But at any point in time, do you see Cole Emerson being a solidified third baseman? Does he have that potential in him as a 20, 21-year-old?
I'd say there's like two things that could happen. It could be one positive side, the Julio method, where go into spring training, great spring training, up with the team very quickly, right? I don't think it was right away. It was within like a few weeks, right? Or it could be something more like your Cole Young, closer to the All-Star break within that mark. I mean, he only had what, a dozen games with AAA, half a dozen games with AAA.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
He just boom.
He's produced where he's gone. I really like what I see. Is he better than Ben Williamson today? One, he hasn't played a lot of third base, where Ben's like plus defensively at third base. So I'd say overall, no. But could I see him coming into spring training and making a name for himself? And everybody's talking about why is Colt not playing a couple weeks into the season? I could see that happening.
Yeah. He'd have to push the needle for me. He'd have to come out in spring training, bat in the 400s, and stats.
Do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, stats are kind of irrelevant when it comes to spring training, but you still get a little bit from them. If the guy's pushing the needle there, he has like 5 or 6 bombs in spring training, and then he goes to AAA for like a week or two. And yeah, he's batting over 500 with another 6 or 7 bombs in Tacoma. Oh, okay. All right. Come do that thing up here.
I think that's a wait and see, because right now I can't fathom the Mariners being better and having Ben Williamson, Cole Young, and Colt Emerson on the Mariners roster at one time. Unless something drastic changes, I just don't think that. I don't think you're better by having all 3 of them in the roster at that time.
Yeah, and that's why I think like this offseason, like if we're gonna add a bat, don't do it like cheap's expensive. Give me one good bat. And I feel like the rest that we have coming up from the minor leagues on our bench, I think Rayleigh could step forward and do better than he just. The injuries were tough on him, and I still really like him as a bat.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Like it can go in so many directions what the Mariners do, but I'd say don't go cheap on the bats. Don't try to like 12 million here, 12 million there. Like go get me a $25 million person. Go get me a $30 million guy, and then put that in the middle of the lineup.
Yep. I think that's the missing piece.
And I think we talked about, like, I get the Mariners are all about platooning, but it's like if you're going to open up your checkbook, you platoon because you weren't going to open up your checkbook. Now if you're going to open up your checkbook, let's reduce the platoon. I want to see 9 guys go out there and
platoon.
I'm going to see them every day.
That's my limit.
Yeah,
I'm a 1 platoon limit guy. Like that's fine. I get it.
This right here, I would be if this was something that the Arizona Diamondbacks would do, I would do it yesterday. Ketel Marte back in this lineup. Also, he has familiarity hitting in Seattle. We all love that. We all kind of need a little bit of statistical background in Seattle to move forward with the players sometimes. Ketel Marte, obviously, when we traded him away, he developed power. He became an outfielder. He's done a fantastic job at second base and outfield over his tenure with Arizona. But yeah, Ketel Marte makes a lot of sense for what we're kind of looking for, just from a hitting perspective. We'll make it work defensively if he comes in and he's our second baseman. Perfect. Miller, Cole, and Chiashi Shen. I think those are 3 great prospects to get that solidified.
I think probably Arizona would say we want more, maybe.
Well, Bryce Miller.
Yeah.
Bryce Miller. I think you can get the job done with that one. Where they might want more is instead of Chiashi Shen, maybe they want somebody that's
what I mean.
Middle, yeah. But I think Miller and Cole get the job done with either Chiashi Shen or maybe somebody in that neighborhood of top prospects. Definitely not somebody north of.
You get any salary relief though? Because I mean, it's $90 million over 5 years. It's a lot of money for the Mariners.
90 over 5? That's not bad.
I thought it was 90, 91 over 5 left.
I
It's
think
like 23. That's like what, 22 per 21?
well, I think that might
5 would be what it would be like a little less than 18. 8 no 16.
I think
That's a
that
good
answers
rate on
the
a
Mariners
top
offseason
second baseman.
I think it answers the Mariners offseason budget. I think if that's the guy
It
that
would
you
answer
bring
your
in,
question though, Chad. It would check the box. You got your one hitter.
Yep.
And then
And
then you try to go play what else, you know.
Well, you got to find.
Because
You got
what
to
we have,
backfill
we
Miller.
have 35 million,
19.4
right?
a year.
30 million. We have 30 million to spend right now, max.
Like
maybe
Reddit, yeah, in
20.
that neighborhood. Yeah, so I think you got to backfill Miller in that. But I think that's not easy. It's never easy backfilling that. But what you're looking for is a number 5 starter, which you can find
We have
somewhere.
an internal.
We can
like
look
we
at
have an
Emerson
internal.
Hancock. We can look at. I know Emerson Hancock this offseason was talked about in moving back to a starting pitcher. Back in the rotation. So I'd like to see that would be one that I would 100% pass off on to get Ketel, because that's the bat you need. And I don't think you're going to. And boom, just following this back up. Yeah, go find, because you're starting 5. You're number 5 in the rotation. If he's got a 4.5 ERA, not that I judge a pitcher solely based on our ERA, but if that's the kind of value level that you're bringing along, is that,
Give
we
me a
should
John
have the offense to
Halama
back it up. We
innings
should have the
eater.
offense to back it up. You know, yeah.
Well, you're talking about that one pitcher, that one Japanese pitcher. I mean, that would be your scenario, right? If you got rid of-
Yeah. I think he would answer the bell for number 5.
You got Logan Evans. I mean, you
got Logan Evans. You got 100%. You got, and here's the other one. I think it's easier. I can't say easy. Easy is not the correct word. Easier to fly up as a top prospect pitcher than it is as a top prospect hitter. Cade Anderson, there's a small chance that you see him. If you see him this year, I think he can actually produce this year. Not to say that you will see him this year, but if he does something similar to what Trey Savage was doing out there, I think.
Was he a 4-year guy at LSU?
3. No, he was a 21-year-old.
3.
Yeah.
So he's 20.
And the big thing for him too, I would listen to his draft interview. It was post-draft interview. It was probably like a week after, and talked about like they shut him down too. He's not even throwing any pitches. And I liked his comment too, where he knew his weakness. It's his size. He's a little scrawny. He knew they want me to put on weight. That's my job right now. And so you're going to see some velo. I hope come spring training, you're going to hear them talk about Cade Anderson throwing a little 99, 100 on the bump. Like that's where I'd like to see a nice little 3 or 4 miles per hour tick up on his fastball. That's where you can get. He just went from a easy lock number 3 starting pitcher to top of the rotation guy quickly.
Not very many guys I would sign off on, especially in the Mariners organization, as just guys that you would send straight to Double-A. He's one of them. He's one of the few guys that I would say if you started him in Double-A, I wouldn't be disappointed. I think that's how advanced that guy is. The fact that he fell to number 3, I don't know.
Give us a lefty in the starting rotation, like.
I don't think Tyler Bremner's a bad pitcher. I just didn't see him above Cade Anderson. And the fact that one of our rivals went and got him. Okay, hey, best of luck to you.
Yeah,
I think he's a good pitcher. I'd love to have him in the organization. But Cade Anderson is
Ethan Holiday was the only one. Ethan Holiday was the only one that I looked at that spot where I just said, that sounds nice. Third baseman. I mean, we have a lot of infielders, but
let's see. I thought Ethan Holiday was going to go number 1.
Sorry. Yeah. Ethan Holiday. Yeah.
I really liked Eli Willits. And then of course he went number 1 and I was like, somebody else really liked him too.
So did they.
But missed on Seth, but Cade is solid. Yeah. Seth, the high school kid out of Southern California, that kid, I'm always a little hesitant with a high school guy that throws 100. You just in 2025, guys go into the needle and they come back from it. But with that being said, it's just sometimes I was more locked on Cade, and for me, like Cade Anderson's going to be up within the next year or two, and you're in contention, and he makes so much sense. But yeah, Seth Hernandez was also a very, very good get. He was my favorite high school pitcher in this draft. And he's gonna, I don't know what he's gonna do with the Pirates.
Same high school too, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was Corona High School that produced, I don't know, three draft picks in the first 2 rounds, and I think they have another one that's supposed to be in the top 100 this year. Corona High School was absolutely loaded.
Something in the water there.
There's something.
I like the comment from Kick Dirt though on Teddy McGraw, revenge season. I like that.
We need him back. Hey, Teddy McGraw and Grant Knipp both. I want to see what they both got at a higher level, because Grant Knipp's starting to get up there in age, and we haven't seen a single pitch from him. All we've heard is that he can run it up 98, 99. So I'm very excited to see what Teddy McGraw can do. Double-A.
Did Teddy finished the season? He was pitching at the end of the season, though, right?
Yes, he was. Well,
yeah, and he pitched pretty well, I thought. I know. We're talking on. People are just asking us questions, and I like that. And I'm 99% certain he actually finished the season pretty well. But yeah, I mean, I like this season. This off season is going to be a good one, though, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like the payroll doesn't sound like it's stretched super long, but I feel like Jerry's going to have a little bit more flexibility just where we're at from a minor league perspective, prospects coming up. He talks about wanting to draft, develop, trade. And so we continue to do that. Naylor's the grade A example of what we need to be continuing to do. And so I'll be interested to see, I like the thought on a Rosarina. Does he want to be around? I don't know if I agree with if he wants to be around, but do the Mariners want him to be around beyond next year? The answer is no. So why wouldn't you try to move him, use that money you're going to save to sign somebody to a long-term deal at a position that makes sense? What position is that? Third base. I keep thinking about third base.
Nolsey, any final thoughts on the day, or just his offseason in general?
I think I gotta kind of go back to what Chad said. Don't skimp on trying to spend, don't try to parcel the money out for a couple bats. Put the money on one big bat. Let's reduce the platoons. Let's find some good glue pieces in kind of our utility guys. Again, you got Ben Williamson, Cole Young, potentially a Cole Emerson. I don't see all three of them together, but ultimately we just need another bat. So are you trading for that? Great. Are you signing it? Great. Just make that happen. I
agree. For Up West Sports, I'm Gavin. That's Chad. That's Kyle. We kept you for almost an hour today. Thank you for stopping by. Just remember, go Cougs and go M's.